Hello and welcome to Reservoir, Red Dogs, the Nottingham Forest podcast. Don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at RRD1865. You can email us rrd1865@outlook.com. Please do subscribe to the podcast, share it on social media, tell all your friends about it, and then other Forest fans can find it and enjoy our back catalogue of interviews with various Forest legends. As always, I'm joined, delighted to say, by Paul McGregor. Hello, Paul.
What is up?
Oh, not much is up. Have you been well?
I've been all right, yeah. You can only get the back catalogue. You can only get, 3 at the minute?
That will change. We're sorting that
change.
out.
I'm getting
problems.
stick daily for that. Johnny's
on it. Johnny is sorting it.
I'm all over it, boys. I'm all over it, man.
He's all over it. Doesn't necessarily sound like he's sorting it out. He's just all over it. We should say you've had a short haircut. It's probably the shortest your hair's been for a while.
It is.
But
Do you like it?
I love it. Listeners will be happy to know that the rosy cheeks are still there.
Yeah, I think it's booze driven.
Nothing wrong with booze. A deep, dark laugh of recognition from our guest today. I mean, I can't believe we've had legends. I mean, everyone on the show's been a legend, but it's always for my generation. You're someone I genuinely idolised as a teenager. The amazing Bryan Roy. Bryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
How long has it been since you were last in Nottingham?
Oh, it's not too long ago because Thomas Lam, central defender, that's Dutch player. He's a very good family friend of ours. So I came here to watch him, and it was, I guess, 2 years ago.
So it's been 2 years since you've been here. What sort of reception did you get the last time you were here?
I don't remember those things. You know, I'm not that football player. I'm not the football player anymore, Paul. I'm Bryan. So I don't know.
But people must recognise you and go, "Oh my God, Bryan Roy's back in Nottingham." Let everyone know.
I am not Bryan Roy. I am Bryan.
I don't remember. I really don't remember.
And does it feel strange being back? Do you recognise the city centre? Does it bring back memories?
Yeah, bring back memories. Yes,
and hopefully positive ones.
Yeah, absolutely positive ones. I had some amazing years here.
I mean, they were amazing for us as fans because you were a superstar.
Thank you.
And having watched you in the USA World Cup in 1994, I could not believe you were signing for Nottingham Forest. It was such a big deal, and we've had an overwhelming response on social media, on Twitter and on the emails. There's so much love for you out there in Nottingham. You've obviously been a superstar of a World Cup, which is rare for a player. You then come to a team that the season before had been in the second tier of English football. What, if anything, had you heard about Nottingham Forest before we came to you, and what was your impression of the club before having signed?
Yeah, the impression was obviously good because a lot of Dutch players went already before me to Nottingham, and it was Hans van Breukelen, Edward Metgod, I guess, against Frans Thijssen.
Johnny Metgod and Hans van Breukelen were famous.
Didn't Johnny Metgod correct us with his Metgod and Metgod?
Oh, it's Metgod, yes.
Metgod.
He says that's how it should be pronounced.
Metgod, yeah, Metgod.
We got told off. We called him Metgod, then he went Metgod.
Metgod. No, and the Frans Thijssen played here, of course. So... And then, of course, back in the days, they won twice the European Cup. And I was a big fan of Trevor Francis when I was a young boy. So, and yeah, the best thing which I remembered always was the Forest logo when I was young. I thought, wow,
yes.
That's an amazing logo.
Isn't that amazing I mean, I would expect children in Britain to identify with that as a logo, but to think that people around the world and around Europe would
That's the
identify.
beauty of logos, Matt. The universal.
That's the beauty of logos.
Of quality design. And Trevor Francis as an idol. So I never appreciated that when Forest came in for you, it's probably an opportunity to walk in the footsteps of someone you'd idolised.
You know, when you were young, you had those Panini things and everything, you know, Paul?
The stickers.
Yeah, the stickers. And I was always Trevor Francis, England, Nottingham Forest. I always remember that. And I went and watched him, of course, on television sometimes when we could.
This is no word of a lie. But I have one Forest sticker that I keep in my wallet, that I've kept in my wallet for years.
No!
And that is a genuine, so that's from Premier League 1996. And I've kept that with me for so long. And that's don't peel it.
We're talking about
Not
Panini.
much difference, is there?
There you go. That's a Panini.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
So I need you to sign that before the end of the show, if that's okay.
I'll sign it.
Thank you very much. I keep that with me. As a good luck charm.
You must be, I mean, you have been giddy with players on here in
Yeah,
the
I feel-
past. You must be containing it right now. He's such a fan, mate.
I remember so many games. I remember the Sheffield Wednesday game at home.
Yeah.
There were so many games that season. QPR, when beat QPR 3-2, that was a classic.
Yeah.
Then a QPR game in 94, 95. So many people remember that. That was just... Forest were just running riot at that time. I mean, was it as exciting to be a part of that team as it was to watch?
It was so exciting, but we had such a nice group together. We had a laugh, and we had also fun in training. It was no one really falling out or something.
No.
It was the group was amazing, and for the first time I got to know the English mentality and the dressing room, how they the fun in the dressing room. You always hear about that, but now I've been in Italy, Germany, and in England. In England, I have had a laugh, unbelievable.
So was England more of a laugh than those other countries?
Yeah, definitely so. Definitely so. Also because of the humor, the English humor.
Yeah.
And the group was close. We stuck together.
So we've heard with previous guests, people like Steve Chettle tell us about nights out, and obviously from Macca, nights out in Nottingham, the places to go. Firstly, on a food level, did you have a McDonald's black card?
Oh, what?
Paul, can you explain what this thing was?
A McDonald's black card?
Yeah, it was
I
a
didn't have
VIP card that got you free food at McDonald's. Near the Forest Gate.
Unbelievable. You had that, Mecca?
Yeah, we had that. Did you not have one of those?
No?
No.
What? How were you left out?
I don't know. That's a big thing for me.
Like, you must be owed so much McDonald's. Can we get it backdated?
I think we could. I'll go and have a word in Bridgeford, see if they can do it.
So many Forest players. So it was a VIP card that got you free McDonald's. At the McDonald's near the
Do you know
ground,
what?
yeah.
It might have been just before Brian came when it
Really?
opened.
So early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, one season before me then.
Because they
Oh,
shut
mate.
that down quick.
But Kevin Campbell was making the most of it, wasn't he? Did someone tell us about Kev Campbell?
He came the second year, Kev.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if he had a black card, we need to get to the bottom of this. You
Yeah,
might be.
yeah, we need to get
This
to
might
the
be like
bottom of
PPI. You might be owed millions in backdated
Make a claim.
Maccadees.
Could you imagine now having a black card in football nowadays? You get sacked.
So your first. Had you ever been to Nottingham before you played here?
No, never.
And what was so getting off the plane, presumably at East Midlands Airport?
Amazing views, and that was my first impression. Wow, it's beautiful over here.
And what about your first impression of Forest as a club on day one of arriving at the City Ground?
Warmth,
Everyone says that.
warmth, yeah, the
Oh, that's
warmth,
so good to hear.
yeah, the warmth. It's one big family actually.
Everyone says that. And was that unique as a Forest thing, or was that true of other clubs you played at? Was that true at Foggia or at Ajax?
No, Foggia didn't have that. Hertha BSC didn't have that. Ajax wasn't a family, not at all. Yeah, it's unique.
Wow.
It was the same for me when I went from Forest to Preston on loan. They had a really great group at Preston. But it was cold dressing room. You know, they were together,
north.
but they were together as kind of warriors. They never socialised really. It was a load of really great players. David Moyes at the helm, really trying to go and get promotion. There wasn't that warmth there. Warmth is a great word. You know, it was a group of friends at Forest, wasn't it?
Yeah, a group
It's
of friends.
strange. When you've grown up with that, I've come through that from the age of 11 all the way through. And then you
course.
start getting into the first team and everything, and it's still there.
But
Yeah, you came to. I remember that you were, you came in as a young boy.
That's right, yeah.
He was doing the shoes.
That's
Yeah.
right. So do you remember who did your shoes? Who did yours?
I don't know.
There'll be some youth team player
No,
out there listening
that
to
red
this.
guy. What's his name? The red-headed.
Spuggy?
Spooky.
No way! Craig Armstrong!
Yes,
Craigie.
Spuggy.
He
Go
did
on,
my
Spuggy.
shoes.
Yeah.
We've had him on the show.
He was in Holland because he's some sort of
He's at Arsenal.
Arsenal scout. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I've seen him in
Oh.
Holland a couple of months ago.
My God.
Spooky.
He's a great lad. He gets everywhere, Spuggy.
He does. Oh, man.
Spooky. He was also so funny.
Yeah. Did you do a good job with your boots?
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with my boots. Yeah, so he did a good job. I scored a lot of goals. So
Oh,
he did a good
so
job.
many.
Well done, Spugs.
Well done, Spugs.
Are there any Forest goals that you particularly remember and savour? Are there any specifically that stand out?
Malmo.
Malmo,
Oh, of
surely,
course,
yeah.
of course.
Malmo, yeah.
You know what was, and I don't. This might be overly nerdy, but I think that was the first time we had white nets.
Okay.
Because we always used to play with a red netting at Forest. In that Malmo game, we had white nets. And I don't think that was a UEFA thing. But I remember the footage being particularly striking because the net really stood out. It's that beautiful top corner finish.
Yeah.
It looked very difficult.
Because you hit it off balance, didn't you, as you were coming over
And you
it?
started falling over
And
and shoot.
it
fall
did
over,
that,
yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit like my first goal
Ipswich!
for Ajax.
Oh, so for Ajax, sorry. I got
Yeah,
over it.
Ajax. Yeah. Ipswich is also
The
a nice
Ipswich
goal.
goal. Oh, my God. The way you move your feet, which sounds a stupid thing to say, but you kind of...
Not if you're in
shimmy-
flash dance.
Oh, man.
None of your flash dance. Yeah.
But the Ipswich goal, my word, what a goal that was.
Yeah, it was a good goal. Yeah, yeah. Well, I had fun here. And yeah, my son is born here, and my now ex-wife has had also a good time here, you know. And we are still in touch with our nanny, Janine Saunders. Janine, I see her tomorrow, I guess, and she comes to the pub.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah, she's nice. She's two nice kids, and we're still in touch. She came to Amsterdam, I guess, a month ago. So we went over to eat with
man, that's so
my
sweet.
kids again, you know. So and she went with us to Berlin when I went to Hertha BSC to Berlin and lived with us. I think 1.5 years, I guess. And we're still in touch.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So is it true? I mean, I think Frank Clark told us this, and I've heard it said before. But part of the reason you signed for Forest was that he convinced your ex-wife that Nottingham was basically a suburb of London and was very close to London.
I think he said 45 minutes away.
Yeah, he said that your wife had asked him how close Nottingham was to London because she was into fashion and all the rest of it. And he basically told her that, yeah, it's just up the road.
I don't know, but yeah, she liked the fancy things and everything. So it was a bit disappointed. It was 2 hours away from London. Yeah. Yeah, we're from Amsterdam, so yeah. Nottingham, it's not that sexy and fancy, of course. So, but you know, I had a good time here.
I hope you did, because we had a wonderful time watching you, and a lot of people have very wonderful memories of you. John Finnegan on Twitter says, I remember seeing Bryan Roy get excited on the way to training one day when he saw a longboat on the Trent and started singing Rosie and Jim in his Dutch accent because his kids used to watch it at home. Is that true?
Unbelievable!
How did the tune go?
Rosie and Jim, Rosie and Jim, Rosie and Jim.
Rosie and Jim.
I got crazy from Rosie and Jim because the kids, they said, I think 2 and 3 or whatever, they're gonna sit there next to each other, Rosie and Jim, but hours. And then, now I have to get them off here. Go play, do something else. Hours. And then I'll go to the training ground one day, and I see a Rosie and Jim boat.
Oh, my.
Aren't they everywhere in Holland?
Of course, yes. Especially in Amsterdam, it's full of canals.
No, but not a Rosie and Jim boat.
No, that's right. It's the more boozy kind of.
Unbelievable.
I've been on those Heineken boats. Not quite the serene life.
Rosie and Jim.
You come to Forest. I remember the first home game of that season was against Man United. I think I'm right in saying this. You were on the front cover of that first match day programme with your then wife and a Forest ground that hadn't yet had the pitch laid. So it looked like having undersoil heating put in. That first home game against Man United, a 1-1 draw,
Yeah, it was,
where Collymore scores that belting equaliser.
You played well.
Oh, man, it was... I mean, that season probably... Well, no question. The 94-95 season is, since Clough, the best season we've ever had. Finishing third in the Premier League. I mean, there's so many great games in that season. Are there any particular moments that stand out? Or is it all just blurred into history?
Oh, well, blowing away Sheffield Wednesday.
Of course!
I think that was the best match we ever played.
Yeah.
1-4, 1-5. I don't know what we.
7-1.
7-1, yeah.
7-1. 7-1 away. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
played.
yeah, yeah.
I played in
At
that game.
Hillsborough, yeah.
Yeah, you play that. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's like if I was playing at Ajax.
Oh, man.
So good, so good.
It just felt so easy.
It
There was
felt
so
so
much
easy.
space everywhere.
Yeah. But yeah, we created that space.
Of course.
And the thing what stands out is actually the fun we had on the pitch together playing football.
Personified by Lars's
Oh,
loop de loop.
yeah,
when
yeah.
yeah.
just joyful, just
joyful.
kids on a park.
Kids in the pub with Ian. You're not bothered. Ian was never bothered. Ian won't. And
You wouldn't be with that wand.
Oh, yeah, the perfect one. And
When you
Steve
say
Stone-
wand, you mean his leg?
I do mean his left
Okay,
foot.
just-
yeah.
Well, it's a perfect left foot, beautiful. I didn't have to defend nothing, because, I knew Stevie and Cooper and Pierce and everything. Yeah. Well, they figured it out. There's little. Yeah, it was. How do you call that in English? Samenhorigheid. A togetherness, which
Compact.
compact. Yeah, we had
You
a
could feel
compact
it.
team.
You could feel it as a fan. It felt like a unit.
Scotty
like a,
Gemmell,
Oh,
he'll run for the whole team,
yeah.
and he was never complaining. I always left I didn't defend. So he never complained,
Never give the ball away.
and I never give the ball away.
Were you ever told off for not defending? Would Frank Clark ever say, "Oh, Brian, you got to get back from him"?
No, not really. Actually, not really. Frank was a good man. He's a good coach. Really,
He
He's
is.
really a
Yeah, we
good
love him.
man.
We all feel
We love him.
We all feel a special affection for Frank Clark. Obviously, your strike partner up front was Stan Collymore,
Yeah.
and you really came together. Stan had been there for a year before you arrived, but as a partnership, it was astonishing. You played so well together, and you fed off each other so well. You had an instinctive relationship. I mean, as a partnership, how did it work? Did you have an agreement, or was it all?
It was all
instinct?
intuition.
All intuition.
All intuition, instinct. I watched him and said, okay, that's good for me. He's big and strong, and he can run. So the only thing I need to do is give him the ball.
And
Give
hope
him the
that
ball at the right
Occasionally, he'll
moment.
give it back.
And occasionally you give it back, But yeah, he was so strong and so quick, and he could hold up the ball, so I can play off that, And the only thing I needed to do was search for him and give him the ball at the right moment, the right time, the right space.
There was always, not always a sense, but there was at a particular point a sense that the relationship between you had broken down, or there was tension between you. Is that true? And if so, what was the cause of that? No.
Never.
I mean, maybe that was just a tabloid
That's tabloid
thing, but
thing.
I'm sure I remember it being in the Evening Post or something like that, that the two of you had fallen out or
I
something.
hear loads of stories about Stan falling out here and falling out there. I don't remember it like that.
No, I'm not. No, yeah. Sometimes you fall out in a game or something,
Yeah.
But never. We had nothing.
Wow. So that was just because that kind of, at the time, felt like it was common knowledge, and actually it turns out it's just completely untrue.
Untrue. Completely untrue.
Wow. Because you still see him occasionally.
Yeah, he was 3 years ago again. He had some Dutch friends, and he came over to Amsterdam to visit them, and then he called me, "Come over, Brian." And then I always came over and I had some drinks and went out with him. So, I've seen him a couple of times, and he called me also a lot of times for his radio program,
Yes.
His
Yeah,
radio
yeah.
program. So, no, I'm very very good in touch with him.
Oh, so good to know.
Yeah.
Are there any other Forest players that you've kept in touch with?
I've seen Ian Woan. When did I see Ian? A long time ago. And then I see him at what's the club called? Burnley on television. And I get excited seeing him on the bench, It's nice. Ian, never bothered at all. Now, coaching.
Well, that's-
Ian,
Can you imagine?
can you imagine
I know.
Ian coaching?
Is that a surprise then?
It's a big surprise.
Why?
He was not bothered. He was nothing but it at all, about nothing.
Horizontal, wasn't he?
So in the changing room at that time, obviously Stan is a huge character. Stuart Pearce is a big personality. Macca is the fashion icon.
Fashion icon.
Do you know what? I'll take that.
So your memories of Paul, obviously you said he'd come up through the ranks, particularly in that season where you start getting the first team, 95, 96, where you score against United, score against Leon, score against Sheffield Wednesday. What are your memories of Paul McGregor in a Forest shirt?
Hey, his quickness. He was so fast. It was unbelievable. I've never seen nothing like that.
Wow, that's kind.
Oh, Paul's blushing.
Unbelievable. He was the fastest player I've ever seen at that moment in time. I mean, you had Overmars, but he was quicker.
No.
Wow.
Definitely.
Wow.
You don't know yourself.
You know what? I think there's a lot in that, and I think this is true of a lot of ex-players. Firstly, I always say this to people, I don't think you ever really appreciate how loved you are by Forest fans, and how, if you've ever worn the Forest shirt, you're a god. But particularly if you did what you guys did in a Forest shirt, which is take us to these incredible heights, scoring these massive games, I don't think you ever fully appreciate how people feel about you. And I don't think, and I say this as a mate, I don't think you really appreciate how amazingly talented you were as a footballer.
Well, what kind of person sits around thinking how amazingly talented they are?
Well, yeah, I mean,
I read a piece about you the other day when I knew you were coming on, about you taking a bit of time to kind of stop being a footballer in your own mind, and how difficult that was.
Yeah.
You know, so you really don't think about yourself in those cramp.
God.
Those terms generally. I always get cramp in here, don't I? It's this room, you know. I think it's the heat.
The only person to fail a fitness test for a podcast. Come on, mate. You've got to be fit for this. I think you minimalise what you did. I think you go, well, that was just a job. It was part of my life, and I've done stuff since, and I'm not just a footballer. And I get that.
Yeah, but that's not so easy, eh?
Isn't it?
No, that's not so easy. What you're now telling, that's the most difficult thing for every single top football player. That's the most difficult thing, to switch off from your first and last name.
And that was it. That piece said, what was your quote? Addicted to attention.
Yeah, addicted to attention.
Yeah, I found that really interesting.
Yeah, you get addicted. Every single top player get addicted to the attention and the rush. That rush, you know, it's a certain rush footballers have to. Yeah, every single game there's that rush you want. You have to get off of that.
Yeah.
Because when you quit playing football, you're not going to get that rush ever again.
Well, I was lucky. I switched from football into music.
Music,
so,
yeah. That's.
And I don't mean that as a brag in any sense, because it's really not. But I was very lucky to switch from one stage to another stage.
Another stage, yeah.
Yeah, but coming off the end of that stage, that's when it all comes crashing down. That's when it's difficult.
Yeah.
So, I mean, coming off that stage, the attention, you're right. I completely agree. Now, my impressions of Bryan.
Oh, of course.
So when Bryan came, obviously, I'm coming through the youth team, this megastar scoring goals, and we break the record for a centre forward.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I'm thinking, oh, God. But there was seeing him on a training ground, was something else. You and Lars took what it was to train, coming in training, being into the first team and all that was doable. I had pace. I could knock a ball past Piercy and go.
Yeah.
I'd get smashed the next time I did it.
Yeah.
But I could do it. I could get past most. So, but seeing a different mental state with you and Lars.
Okay.
Calmer on the ball.
Wow.
More gifted on the ball. Ability on the ball. Staying behind after training was what?
To do what?
Just to keep the ball up, to just do skills, just to enjoy themselves with the football. We were in the pub. Lars doing keep-ups and Bryan,
I was in the gym.
In the gym, these guys took Nottingham Forest to the next level. You've got no idea. And watching, this sounds like a scene from a rom-com, but you'd made me want to be a better player. I saw you in front of me in a position I wanted to be, and I sat there watching, thinking, I ain't that good yet. I can come on. If you come off and we need fresh legs, I can come on and do something, but I ain't that good yet. And you made me You and Stan both.
Yeah,
And Kev, when he came as well, had certain abilities, but you and Stan particularly, dropped my jaw a little bit and made me think, wow, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's where I need to be.
Was there any sense of rivalry at all or not?
Only healthy.
Yeah.
He's the star of the club. Him and Stan, he comes in. Yeah, I want to be him. I want to knock him out the team. Of course I do. But you got a World Cup player in front of you, mate. What are you going to do?
Well, indeed, you force yourself to improve.
Yeah.
So that when you do come on, and obviously we talk about Leon a lot, but what's really cool actually is to sit with two men that scored two of the most crucial goals in recent Nottingham Forest history. It's the goal against Malmo, which gets us through, the goal against Leon, that gets us through. We scored very few goals in that competition, and you two scored two of the most important. It's quite a cool thing
I was injured then, Leon away.
Yes, and that was a 0-0 draw in Leon away. So who did you come on for against Leon?
It was me and Bobby came on for you and Kev, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Straight double swap.
And do you remember, Brian, seeing the goal against him? Do you remember Pearce's penalty and then Macca scooping up the rebound?
I don't remember that.
I've got it on YouTube here. Where is it? Matt,
We've all got it. Yeah, what am I talking about? It's my screensaver on every device. So the rest of that, were you in the bath then, or were you pitch side, or is it's just gone from the memory?
It's gone from the memory, I guess. At home at Leon.
Yeah. When McGregor scores.
Yes, I remember that. A penalty to the stand.
Yeah.
Away from
That's right.
the water, the other stand.
The Bridgeford end.
Yeah, Bridgeford end.
So, you come to Nottingham, you're playing Forest. Who were, and a lot of people have asked this, Steve got in touch over email. He says he's got two questions. One, who was the better strike partner, Dennis Bergkamp or Jason Lee? And two, who were your best mates at Forest?
Well, striking partner, Dennis Bergkamp was not my striking partner.
Bloody hell,
At
Steve.
Ajax, I played at the left side.
This is why Steve doesn't do a podcast.
Yeah. What are you doing here, Steve? So who were your best mates at Forest?
My best mates at Forest, Ian. I had a very good relationship with Ian. Ian Wone, yeah. We could level up a lot with each other, yeah. It was good. We had good. We've had very good conversation, also off footballish things,
We've had an amazing email here from another Steve who says, can you ask Brian if he remembers talking to a skinny 18-year-old in 1995, which obviously you wouldn't remember, but he says he was in Next, which was at that time next door to Yates, as in Market Square.
Next to the fashion thing.
Yeah.
That's right. He says, I saw Brian with his wife, and I'd just finished work and managed to grab a pen from the sales counter and ask Brian for his autograph. Unfortunately, all I had on me for him to sign was that day's issue of The Sun with a picture of Stan Collymore on the back page. He signed a picture of Stan with a little chuckle. This was at the time when there were rumours they weren't getting on. I thanked him and went on my way, left the shop and went for my bus home. Whilst waiting, Brian and his wife walked by and he gave me a little nod. It was at this point something in my brain suddenly disconnected itself from my voice box, and I asked him whether he'd be the godfather to my baby daughter. As the words left my lips, I instantly began to feel embarrassed and wondered where the hell the question had come from. To be fair, Brian took it very well and said, I'm sorry, but I don't even know you, with a baffled look on his face. He says, to this day, I still cringe when I think of that moment, and this embarrassment was heightened. A couple of years after the event, I read an interview in a football magazine where Brian had been asked, what's the strangest request from a fan? And you'd said, I was asked to be this guy's godfather to his daughter.
Is he still in Nottingham?
Yes, he says, my daughter Charlotte is now 24 and I'm about 10 stone heavier than I was then, so it would be much scarier if I asked him the same question now.
Well, I'm in Nottingham, so she can visit me now again and ask me the question now. We drink a pint.
And would you be, just in case, would you now step in as godfather to a 24-year-old Charlotte?
If she really wants it, I'll do it.
Do you remember this guy? Does that ring a bell at all? Is that?
No, I don't remember it anymore. I don't remember that anymore. Poof.
Lots of people have asked this. Jordan got in touch and said, you played with two of the great Forest strikers, Stan and Kevin. Who was the best player you played with in a Forest shirt?
In a Forest shirt?
Yeah.
Stan was good.
He was amazing.
Stan was good then. Not yet. I think Pierce, he was very good. I was a very big fan of Ian Woan.
Yeah.
Very big fan of his left pick. You call that in English?
Left peg.
Left back, yeah. And Scotty was a good player. Oh,
He's very. We say this a lot on this podcast.
Yeah.
He's very underrated by a lot of Forest fans.
Absolutely, because he was he was modest guy.
Incredible, given how talented he was.
He was very talented. Stevie Stone.
Run all day.
You could run all day.
At the time you were there, did you ever play a game called Murder in the Dark?
No.
So
He wouldn't come down to that room.
So that was a youth team then?
That was a youth team game. The first team couldn't play Murder in the Dark.
So have you heard of this game, Murder
No,
in the Dark?
what is that for kind of game?
So apologies to the people who listen to this podcast, but basically, do you know the little youth team room at the bottom of the corridor on the left?
Yeah.
So we used to gather all the boots after training in that room, lock the door, turn the lights off, pick up any boots and go, murder in the dark. Boots going everywhere.
With the
Blood.
With the studs.
Studs, mate. It was.
No.
It all kicked off. Honestly, it was hardcore.
That's hardcore.
Yeah.
With studs,
Made a
man.
man of you, that.
So you had Stan up front, you had Psycho, Woney. We've got to talk about Frank Clark.
Yeah.
He's one of the great Forest managers. Could you understand him?
That is cold.
No, what I'm saying is, obviously, Frank has a very northeast accent.
You're going for the accent, yeah?
Of course, yeah. And you're from
In the
Holland.
beginning, that was very difficult.
Must have been. No, I mean that. I'm a
And he
fan of Frank.
talks. Yeah, I know, but really, it was difficult. But it was already difficult to understand my teammates in the beginning.
Of course, Stuart Pearce must have been quite that sort of Cockney accent.
Yeah.
Stan's from Birmingham.
Oh, I thought you were teeing yourself up then.
Norm was good. That was hey, he was good. Hey, crazy but good.
Good footballer as well. Good feet.
Good feet.
So many people got in touch about the Tottenham game in the FA Cup that goes to penalties when Crossley saves 2 or 3 penalties, runs the length of the pitch and belly flops into that puddle.
Yeah.
What I suppose in a way, I mean the Malmo game must be up there. The Lyon game, getting to the quarterfinals against Bayern Munich must be up there. But what are your favourite memories of playing for Forest?
My favourite memories of playing for Forest, every single home game.
Oh mate, what an answer!
Every single home game. Yeah.
Because Forest was rocking then.
Yeah. Felt like home.
Such a good atmosphere.
Yeah, good atmosphere.
And the Trent End had just been built, the new Trent End.
Yeah.
I remember that the 94-95 season specifically. I just think I don't remember a season really in my life having that sustained atmosphere where every game was a party, every victory was celebrated like it was the end of the season.
Yeah.
The Man United game was out this world. QPR at home, Sheffield Wednesday at home. Oh,
So we won so much matches. We ended up third in the league. It's Premier League.
it was amazing.
We ended up third. It's unbelievable.
And we were the top
Unbelievable.
of
It's
the
not just
league.
romance, is it?
No.
It's not just a romantic view of
No.
the club. This is attacking,
Yeah.
positive football.
Yeah. Yes.
Week in, week out. Pass the ball forward, move into space. Pass the ball, and we go and we attack.
It was amazing, and
It's
that's
thrilling for a fan to watch, isn't it?
it's
That's
thrilling
that's
for
the
a
name of the
festival.
game.
Yeah.
thrilling and very emotional to watch. Like, it was the glory days were back at this club that had been on ice for a while, and this was. It felt like we'd got success very quickly, having been relegated in 1993 and then back up in 94, and then all of a sudden we've got a Dutch superstar. We've got Lars Behinen.
Why did Lars win away after 2 seasons?
Every goal he scored for Forest was incredible. I don't think he scored any tap-ins. He scored directly from a corner against Norwich. He scored that goal against... What's the one where he turns? I think it's Sheffield Wednesday at home, where his back's goal, he turns and volleys.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
I remember the commentary. Oh, drilled in by Lars Behinen. And I still think of... I watch that back on trains. Just when I've got a bit of time to kill.
Trains?
I've got
What is trains?
Yeah, when I
Sounds
get
like an
the
emo
train,
band.
I've got loads of Forest videos on my laptop.
Oh, okay.
So on a train journey, I'll just watch
Oh, so like the
highlights of the
Do you not?
Who else doesn't watch?
Do you not
highlights
watch
from-
Forest videos on your laptop on trains?
What's wrong with
I
you?
thought that's what
guys?
everybody did.
No. I'm not into watching too much YouTube things.
You're more into the magazines, aren't you?
Well, I've seen a beautiful compilation of the goals the Forest made from me. Beautiful. They did well.
What are your memories of Nottingham nightlife and culture? Were there particular bars that you went to? Where was the?
Mecca knows. He remembers every single. But I had so much fun with the lads. I don't know. We didn't go out every single weekend because we had families as well. But when we went out, that was amazing.
We had quite a few midweek nights out as well.
Midweek sessions.
Yeah, like a Tuesday, you'd get run. Night out on the Tuesday night.
Unbelievable.
Day off Wednesday.
Day of Wednesday, yeah. Hey, nowadays you cannot do that anymore. With food and with this, every single training you need, every single day, everything is planned, what to eat and when to train. We had sessions during the week. Tuesday night session. Well, not even every single week, but once in a month or something.
I think a little bit more.
A little bit more.
A little bit more. Maybe some of you more serious pros
Yeah, I had
kept
my
it on
family,
lockdown.
so
Yeah.
Of course, but different.
Yeah, and I had my family here, so I didn't go. I've been on those sessions, but not every single week. No.
So you lived in Edwalton.
Edwalton, yeah, I have a picture of my house.
Oh, let's have a look. Did you say that recently, or is that just?
Yeah, I just found it.
Oh, what a gaff! What a garden!
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Oh man,
Edwalton, Melton Road.
lovely parts. Bridgeford.
Yeah, Bridgeford. I mean, listen, Edwalton. I bought this house and then I sold it again, but I would have kept it.
Yeah.
Worth a
It's
few
a-
bob now, mate.
Biggest mistakes of my life selling houses.
Yeah.
Especially you come out of football, 10 years playing music, you skin, and you look back and go,
Yeah, but you do what you have to do at the time. You do what you have to do at the time. You do
Selling
it.
houses.
You can't be beating yourself up. For
£500,000, mate. £500,000 I lost.
Matt Newsom, who's a Forest fan, obviously a member of what he calls the espionage crew, says, I had Roy 22 on the back of my Forest shirt, but the paramedics had to cut it up when I got hit by a car. My mum wouldn't let me have it on the back of the replacement. I loved Bryan, was a ball boy the night. He almost ripped the net with that goal against Malmo. A class act. So this guy was wearing a Bryan Roy shirt when he got hit by a car. I mean,
No.
I'm not sure whether you're meant to apologise for that or what was supposed to do, but that was how much
sad
people,
story.
the people of Nottingham loved you. Would you see?
I hope he's well.
Oh, he's very well. He works for the BBC as a rugby commentator now, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's doing well. How did it feel seeing people with Roy 22 on the back?
That was nice.
And were the Nottingham people friendly to you on the whole?
Yeah, of course, always.
Do you still have a fondness and an affection for Nottingham
course.
Forest?
Of course, I'd like to see Forest in the Premier League, of course.
And do people in Holland ever talk to you about your Forest days?
Yeah, no television, and that not a lot of football on television as nowadays, of course, in the 90s. So I didn't know he scored that many goals in Nottingham. People don't know.
No!
That was Bryan Roy. Now I'm Brian. Do you know, I remember, it's just popped into my head actually. You mentioned John Hazeldine,
John
Mad Doug.
Hazeldine, yeah.
physio. I remember him having a picture that used to turn my stomach in his back office of you being tackled. I'm going to try and describe this for anybody listening. Imagine being stood with your legs at 90 degrees. So
Yeah.
one leg, right leg,
Okay.
stood straight.
Like a goose step type
Yeah,
pose.
but left leg out to the side.
Yeah.
Like this, Matt.
Oh, God. You're like a ballerina.
Thank you. I am very balletic.
Yeah, that was too bad.
And somebody had slid in, missed the ball, and hit his knee.
Oh, God.
Right, so he's standing knee.
Oh, no.
So there's a perfect picture. It's a beautiful picture. It's incredible. I'm
The
standing up
goalkeeper-
for this, so excuse my voice.
goalkeeper
disappearing.
jumps into my knee.
That's right. And his knee is at a right angle like this. And you got up and carried on.
No. I went off.
Did you? Oh, okay. But it didn't injure you particularly badly, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, it did. All right.
The whole it affected my fitness a lot actually.
Man.
Goodness.
It affected my fitness a lot. I had a very good season. It was the last game of the season, and then I had to do revalidation in the summer and everything, And I wasn't quite yet ready for the pre-season.
I see.
And after 3 months later, I tore my cartilage. So it wasn't good.
So I actually started that out quite positively, but
It's meant to be a good news story.
It was. I thought, my God, I've always thought to this day that, well, not until now, that you got hit like that and just bounced up and carried on. But clearly not.
No, I had a serious injury.
Sorry, I brought it up now.
During your period at Forest, we were sponsored by Labatt's.
Labatt's.
Matt Dyson asks, did you ever drink a pint of Labatt's?
Of course.
Did you like it?
Of course, yeah. Of course. I learned how to drink beer in England. I never drank any beer.
So what did you used to drink? Schnapps?
Wine, eh? In Italy, you drink wine.
Of course, yeah, sophisticated stuff.
Yeah, you drink wine. And in Holland, I drank mixes. I drank some beer then already. But here, it was getting serious business about this beer thing of you guys here in England.
We do like it. It's lasted. We should get a beer sponsor for this podcast. We should create a beer and drink it during the show. Great, wouldn't it?
Particularly that we do them normally in the morning.
It would have, yeah. Oh my God,
how good!
Do you remember that we went to Sam Face?
Sam Face, mate.
And
We
they
lived
did
in
this
there.
morning sessions or something.
Remember when we used to start with the golf game? So 18 holes, sorry. But you'd have teams, and each player had to drink it in the shortest amount, and you would have 3 pints, 3 bottles, 3 doubles. And you ought to go around, you kept score, and honestly, this game would be finished by 11 o'clock in the morning.
And who was the best at it and who was the worst?
I had no idea. I'd had 9 drinks.
It's so good to hear that, because we've interviewed players from all over the UK, and we've had Guy Moussi from France and Andy Reid from Ireland, people with different accents. And obviously, I'm from Nottingham, so I have a fondness for Nottingham Forest and the place. But what is amazing is no matter what era people played for Forest, whether it's John Robertson in the 70s, whether it's Bryan Roy coming from Holland in the 90s, Reedy in the noughties, McGregor from Liverpool and growing up in Nottingham, everyone, what is amazing and what's really special about Forest is everyone seems to have had a very friendly... We haven't spoken to anyone who said, actually, I didn't enjoy my time at Forest, or it wasn't inclusive, or I felt left out. Everyone says that they had this very special experience in their career. Here.
There's a little bit of confirmation bias going on, isn't there? That we only ask.
We do only ask Forest players, obviously.
that have done well.
Players from other clubs, yeah. Well, that's right. Yeah, we're not asking people who are vilified.
No.
During their time here.
Well, people are friendly here.
I'm glad you say that, because I think that.
Yeah, people are friendly here.
And so when you're back, say, today, and you're doing other things while you're here, do you get recognised much? Do you have people coming up to you going, bloody hell, it's Bryan Roy in Nottingham. All right, Brian.
Not for
You
a
meet
second.
it. Well, that's it. Can you understand the Nottingham accent?
Yeah. I like that.
Did anyone ever call you a duck? Hey, up me duck.
No, I don't. This one I don't recognize.
All right, Brian, me out. You all right, duck? You never got any of that?
No.
That was it's a famous Nottingham phrase that, spooks a lot of people who come on the show because they've never heard
Baffles
it.
Europeans.
Yeah, and other British people. There's
Yeah.
people from other parts of England that are like, why
What
are they calling me a duck?
Yeah.
Finally, Brian, we had a great question for you from Phil Gullen. He said, Brian was one of the best forwards ever to play for Forest. What I want to ask is, I noticed he often used to stand in an offside position for much of the match. Was that a strategic decision to get a good rest so that he was ready to burst into action when it really counted?
Yeah. People underestimate how much energy a run takes of you?
Oh, I don't. It takes loads out of me. I
I
burst into.
was naked after a run.
It's a naked.
Naked, you said a naked.
Knackered, yeah.
Naked.
Yeah, you were right.
I'm often naked after a run, but
Good grief.
that's just at home.
I had to recover.
Yeah.
Then I stood offside, so in the back of my defenders.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I snook in and,
But you're still being effective if you stand offside, aren't you? Because they're what's he doing?
Of course, what's he doing?
They're looking behind.
Yeah.
You stretch the game.
yeah, that's it.
Wow. So Phil was absolutely right. He noticed that.
Yeah.
It's a good observation.
Good old Phil Gullen. I
Love
wouldn't have
Phil.
remembered that at all. Thanks, Phil. And thanks, Brian. This has been an incredible. I feel. I don't think there's any shame in admitting this as a fan. Slightly overwhelmed that we've got you in today, having adored you as a player.
Appreciate
I
that.
mean, there's so many great players who've worn the Forest shirt over the years, but for my generation, you are truly one of the best footballers I ever saw play for Forest.
Here,
It's,
here.
it's
a
an
big
honour and a
compliment from me.
privilege to have had you in here today. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for everything you did in a Forest shirt.
Thank you. Thank
Calm
you.
down, mate.
Oh,
Nice
no,
one,
but
Brian.
you need the thanks.
Top man.
You've been amazing. Thank you so much.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Brian. Thank you. I'm going to get you to sign my sticker if that's all right.
Yeah, I'll sign you a sticker.